Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, this is Donna. with
Hi,
Sheriff
Donna.
Department.
Hi, Donna and Sharon. How are you?
Hey, Sharon, how you doing? How's everything going?
Okay, how are you?
I'm okay. I got this new phone. The reason I just want to make sure it's working okay because I got a few more buttons than my old phone, so I just want to make sure I didn't do anything wrong here.
No, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was the last time when I was trying to jump in on that last call, what was it about? Oh, the inmates, how many that cost, how many, and I was trying to jump in and I was talking and nobody was hearing me and I kept trying to hit the mute button and so my phone was broke. So I just, like I said, I got to get a new phone. So I had to run into Laura's office so I could get on the call. Yeah. Anyway, everything going okay with you, Sharon?
Yes, thank you. How about you?
Good. Yeah, it's good. I like the new sheriff a lot, but it's still crazy over here. But I think we're starting to get on the right track.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. I think we just got something on the consent agenda, so I'm just gonna I'll probably mute the call till they get down to the consent.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Where are we at here?
Hello, Nan Baker calling in.
Good morning, Nan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nan.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful Monday morning. The sun's out, finally.
Oh, yesterday we had a wonderful Mother's Day, but oh my gosh, not because of the weather.
Was that just, I got up in the morning and my car was covered in snow. I'm like, it was 80 degrees a couple of days ago.
I know.
Crazy.
I know. I can't believe it myself.
We
Yeah,
run-
grandkids over and they had to stay in the house instead of playing outside.
Yeah. Oh, what a bummer. Well, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I'm not a mom, but to anybody who is, happy Mother's Day.
That's nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Morning.
Was Eleonora?
Yes. Good morning, Donna. How are you?
Good morning.
Sharon Dell will be on in 1 second.
Okay, thanks, Trevor.
Only the total of my shares is how many?
استني شوية.
Sharon Dell's just having a technical issue. If we can give him one more minute, sorry.
No problem. Okay, do we have Dale?
I'm here.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Mike, whenever you're ready, I think we have everyone.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Monday, May 10th, Board of Control. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning, calling the roll for the Monday, May 10th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:04. We have Dale Miller,
Here.
Dan Baker,
Here.
Trevor Mackler serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones,
Here,
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish,
Here?
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer. Here. Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lenora Lockett.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 3rd. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved. At this time, it's public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak at this time? Please do so. Okay, there is no public comment. Moving on to contracts and awards, please.
First item, BC 2021-214, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 5423 and enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District in the total amount not to exceed $14,000 for technical assistance with various activities in connection with the implementation of soil and water conservation measures in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 940, for the period March 27th, 2021 through March 26, 2022, for stormwater pollution activities in the amount not to exceed $8,500 associated with National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System covered construction activities, and for public involvement and public education program activities in the amount not to exceed $5,500.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is our agreement that we have an annual agreement with Soil and Water to perform these services for us. They are required through the EPA related to our construction projects and sanitary functions. This is a really competitive price. We'd pay a lot more if we went to the outside. And so as far as a consultant goes, and so we just continue this service with Soil and Water because they do a really great job for the price.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2021-215, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 5912, which will result in an award recommendation to U.S. Bank in the amount not to exceed $200,000 for the purchase of routine fuel for the County Fleet Division for the period March 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. So this item, we're making the award recommendation that's going to result in a purchase order to U.S. Bank. This is for the Voyager Fuel Card Program. It's a not to exceed dollar amount, which will take us through the end of this year. Again, this is for the County Fuel Card Program.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I have a quick question. Tom, is this part
Yes.
of the Key Bank contract that we outsourced because they didn't do it? We had to go through this U.S. Bank?
That's correct. That's correct. So this was outsourced. It used to be through Key Bank. Voyager is no longer tied to Key Bank. They're with U.S. Bank. So we're kind of on our own doing this at this point. This is, we're going to be in the process of doing RFP this year because this purchase order goes until the end of this year. Starting January 1st of next year, it should be a new contract.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from our board members on this?
Yes, I have a follow-up question as to whether we're going to continue to handle this as a separate contract, or at some point are we going to fold it into our larger agreement for banking services?
That's a good question. And as my team, we've kind of had to do this on our own. And we're going to be exploring a new contract via RFP program this year. One thing we have to do is work with the Treasury Department and or OPD or whomever to find out details of financial RFPs. We're not 100% versed in it. And at that time, when I do meet with them, that's going to be a topic of conversation as to when can we go back to combining all of these into one. But this purchase order will get us through this year. I'm not sure how long the Key Bank contract goes for, but ideally we would get this back on one platform.
And one other question, out of the $200,000, how much of that money goes for the actual purchase of fuel, and how much of that goes for bank fees, processing charges, et cetera, et cetera?
I'm not sure. Melanie, are you on the call? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I'm not 100% sure the fine details, if there are bank charges through the U.S. Bank or Voyager, or if it's a straight purchase.
Okay, well, you can get back to me on that, but I don't need the item held.
Will do. Will do.
Are there other questions from the board on this item?
Just one quick question, Mike.
Sure.
The explanation for the reason why it's late, have you overcome your policy or protocol so that lack of people because of sickness or communication breakdown with the vendor? I mean, we can't be dependent on people not being there. There should be someone else in place that can take care of things, so that if something even more important than this got missed, you would have the ability to keep it on time.
So, and that may have been just a misunderstanding of my response. The reasons, the delays in getting the required documents, it was actually at the U.S. Bank level, where they had staff that was not getting back to me due to COVID.
Oh,
it was their staff. It was not our internal staff. It was their staff, and they were apologetic, and so they had multiple staff that had multiple health issues. So.
All right. Well, I feel bad for them, but I'm glad that it wasn't on our end.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, final questions on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second Ann Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-216, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Harris, McKessie, and Brennan Incorporated, doing business as HMB, for maintenance and software support on the WriteFax Enterprise Fax Manager server for the period June 1st, 2017 through May 31st, 2021, to extend the time period to May 31st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $19,216.29.
Good morning, Janelle Green on behalf of the Department of IT. This item is an amendment to the existing contract we have with HMB for WriteFax services. It is an enterprise level e-faxing application that is used in various departments and locations and within not only individuals but also copiers to allow the county to fax, to actually send out faxes and receive faxes. The price is the same as our prior year contract with this company.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes, I have a question. What is an e-fax? Does this mean it's somehow sent electronically as opposed to being actual providing a paper copy?
Well, yes, it's usually linked through VoIP services or like the digital phone lines without actually having to have a dedicated fax machine itself. So these are linked through a lot of copiers where you can just send the items back and forth. You can do it also through email as well, and you could just print off whatever paper copy that you need.
So this, you put a paper copy in the machine, you push the right fax button and it takes a picture of it and sends an electronic copy.
That is correct. That's more or less, yes.
And what's the advantage of doing this as opposed to scanning?
So there's a lot of agencies outside of the county. You have hospitals as well that utilize fax machines in order to send over information. So this is to allow the county to be able to communicate back and forth with other facilities and other government agencies. And this is why we look at it on an annual basis to look at if do we need to have as many so we aren't just necessarily engaging into a long-term contract if the move is to move towards just scanning and emailing versus utilizing faxing.
Okay, well, I appreciate the answers. It's always a challenge trying to be compatible with everybody's technology out there.
That is definitely a challenge. It is.
Are there other questions from the board on this item?
I have a question, Mike.
Sure.
So just looking at the funding, why is it that we singled out HHS at 25% when your backup answer said that it's split based on usage as advised by the IT functional area managers? Is there a
right? So HHS is HHS, the IT division, also is counts as a functional area, at least it counts in our terms, a functional area of IT. So we work in a partnership with HHS on their IT items. So HHS has their IT division utilizes the licensing in their copiers in order to allow social workers and different different departments within HHS to utilize faxing in between government agencies and hospitals and things like that. So that's why HHS is specifically called out, because they have a different funding stream than us, than general fund, and they are a subset of the IT department as a whole.
And 25% is typically enough for them out of the funding?
Yes.
Okay. And the second question, if I may, on the backup, the reason I asked the question is this an annual ERP operating expense. It does say in the backup that are the services covered by the original ERP budget? And it says yes. So,
well, that was That was definitely a mistake. So it's definitely not ERP related at all. It runs separately from the system. So that was an error on our behalf, and I apologize for that.
Oh. So when it says are the purchases compatible to the new ERP system, is that also not applicable?
That is incorrect because this runs on copiers and this is separate from the ERP.
Okay, well, those two were marked as yes. So thank you for correcting.
So, sure. We'll make sure that we're answering those questions more accurately moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions from the board? Hearing none, then I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-217, Department of Sustainability, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 6095, which will result in an award recommendation to Green Strategies LLC in the amount not to exceed $4,500 for microgrid and utility consulting services for the period May 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2021, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi, it's Mike Foley from Sustainability. And so this is a short-term contract with Green Strategies, Ali Ahmed, who Council you've seen on some of the utility committee hearings. This is as we're working through that utility legislation. Ali has been really instrumental in helping us think through all the kind of microgrid utility strategies over the last couple of years as we work with Cleveland and now thinking through the county utility process. His contract with Cleveland State, he was a subcontractor with Cleveland State, and that contract ended April 30th. And so this is just a way to keep him engaged until hopefully we're past the legislation at the county, within the county process.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Are there questions from the board on this item?
I have a question, Nancy Baker.
Please, go ahead.
So, Mike, was it costing the county anything for him through the CSU contract, or were we participating in that contract too?
No, that contract was with CSU, and then CSU subcontracted with Ali.
Okay, so we're on our own for this, different than what we were before.
Correct.
And is there any thought to perhaps seeing where the legislation goes before we continue with consultants?
Well, we will eventually, but in order, I think it's helpful. I mean, we think it's helpful to keep Ali engaged while you guys are considering, while council's considering the legislation for the public utility. He really does understand utility legislation, utility kind of the world pretty well. He gets microgrids, he gets new technologies, he gets interaction into the transmission grid. I think we feel it's important to keep him engaged while we're in the middle of hopefully convincing you that we want this legislation passed.
Okay. One final question. The AG, I heard, is looking into this as far as there being a conflict of interest. I know that you're in a position where you don't agree, and I don't really know. But do you think that we should hold spending any more money until we get an answer back?
So I think the AG is looking at a request from Councilman Gallagher about the legal authority of the county to create the utility.
Okay.
I don't know when we're going to get that. That's what I understand has been requested through the prosecutor's office. We've got two opinions from both the Legislative Service Commission and our own law department saying we have the legal authority to do the county utility. So I don't, Councilwoman Baker, I think Ali really is really important to helping us work through both modeling in terms of microgrid, geographic microgrid areas, and kind of helping. There's all this kind of language and concepts in the utility world that Ali does a great job of kind of deconstructing and helping people understand, who aren't in that world. So I think it's really important to keep them engaged for the next couple of months. And this does that.
Okay, and as we continue to wait for an answer, and in 2 months, we don't know yet, 'cause I don't know where this is going either. Could you be possibly coming back for an additional couple of months?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully, we're not in that position. As I understand it, the AG's opinion is coming within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
That's what I understand.
I guess I would ask my colleagues, is there any issue for you to hold this for a couple of weeks until we find out whether or not we're going to go?
Councilman, we have another hearing tomorrow in front of you, and a committee of the whole, and I'd like Ali to be part of that. And I hate to say it, $4,500 for 2 months. I mean, he really does bring a lot of value. And so, plus, I got to say, we're still having conversations with Cleveland. So, in fact, I got a call from the head of Cleveland Public Power just last week saying, hey, can we circle back around on this? And Ali's helpful in those discussions.
Okay. That's all I have. I just know that there's some question marks out there and spending more money, but I do understand Mike Foley's point, and I guess I could go either way for 4,500. I just don't want to get on a black hole here and then come out with nothing. That's all. But
So I would just add that that last week we had an item that came up in the fiscal agenda for $100,000 in the same general realm of activity, and I recommended that we hold that until we get greater clarity, and the director agreed to, and I think that makes sense. But I think that that for $4,500 that we don't have to bring everything to a grinding halt until the council makes some decisions. I think we can take the attitude that we're in the middle of a process and this is part of the process. And so I would be ready to move on this today.
Are there any other questions from our board?
Mr. Chair.
Just one follow-up, if I may.
Sure, Tom.
So thank you. Mr. Foley, is this like other costs that we've incurred but we'll get back from the developer when this does in fact become a reality? Is this another that we're going to fold into putting this together, or no, this is definitely a county expense?
Councilwoman Baker, I love your optimism that this is going to happen.
I'm open. I just,
Yes, these are costs that can be folded back into the developer paying for at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you. I'm done. Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Macular, you had a question, sir?
Mike, good morning. What is your plan after June 30th? What would be the plan with this contract? Even if we don't have an answer yet, which I don't think will be likely, or if we do and they say we can do it, is your plan to extend his contract?
Not this contract, no, Trevor. So this is just to get us through this period where we're still working on the legislation. If we don't get it passed, or if we do get it passed, either way, then let's say we get it passed, which I'm hoping for, then we'll issue an RFQ for a consultant to help write the RFP for the first set of microgrids. And Ali and Green Strategies will be then potentially, he'll offer his services to other, either to the consultant who's drafting that RFP or to the developer who wins the RFP at the end of the day. So we wouldn't have another contract with Ali.
Okay. So after this, we won't be doing, we will be actually going out to bid for future services. We're not going to be issuing RFP exemptions.
Correct, right. And so and sent you I think I've sent you the draft, at least the RFQ that we put together for the consultant services.
And I just think for the Board of Control members, I believe the request to the Attorney General for his legal opinion, I think it is significantly different than what the LSC provided. I think the way I just believe the type of opinion we're going to get is significantly different. So I appreciate the fact that we have the LSC opinion, but in the end, I don't know how meaningful or valuable that is to the county, right? They provide legal services or to the state legislature. So I would just caution that we say we have an LSC opinion, because I'm not sure what value that brings for us, the county.
I can just respond. I mean, these are the attorneys who, write legislation all the time, and the request was made with their needed legislation at the state level to create a county level utility. And they've come back and said, no, that county, because of its charter, has the legal authority to do this under the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio. I don't want to, I guess they could the AG's office could come back with something different, but then I think we just have, and we consider those when they come in.
Right.
Okay, any final questions on this item from the board?
Only one, if I can follow. Mike, I know you answered the question that if this passes, you're going out to bid. If it doesn't, if the AG, puts a stop to it, then we'll have to consider that. But what happens if nothing happens? What happens in end of June when this expires and we're still waiting, which we may be? Will you be coming back again to extend his contract for a couple more months?
Oh, Councilwoman, I hope we're not in that position. I hope we have clarity by then. And if we don't, then I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully we're not in that position. So I really do hope that, we get clarity on this in the next month.
Councilwoman, I do believe we'll have an answer back from the Attorney General's office before the end of June.
Okay. Well,
I know the Council President has some conversations, and it seems that we would probably have it before the end of June.
okay. And because I put question to it, I will be supportive of this. I just wanted to know where everyone else was and what their position was with the AG. And sounds like this is needed to get us through more conversation, which is part of the process, as Councilman Miller expressed. So thank you.
Very good. Well, at this time then, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
I missed who that was. Was that Councilman Miller? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-218, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a contract with ComDoc Incorporated for maintenance and support on the DocuWare system for the period January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $16,307.52.
Good morning, this is Sarah Baker with Juvenile Court. We are asking for an amendment to our contract with ComDoc, which provides just our annual maintenance and support for our DocuWare system, which is what allows us to print various things out of our case management system, iCase, such as journal entries or other types of orders. I would also like to indicate that our internal IT department is currently working on and testing some software so that we could do this internally and that we would not need this going forward. So our hope is that by the end of this year, we'll be able to take this internally.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Just one question for clarity. It's one thing when we're late in asking, but it's another when we're not in contract anymore. And was there a reason why I guess the reasons are the same, wait times, workload, and learning curve, but it just is, I think, a little more concerning when we're trying to reenact a contract that has already ended. But
And I
given
know,
that, yeah, not have this anymore, I guess that's a good thing.
and unfortunately, the contracts that the court's going to have coming forward are kind of all in the same boat in regards to being late. The reasons are all the same, and we're still having some issues with wait times and workload and things like that. So while we're learning the system more, some of these other circumstances can't necessarily be avoided. I will say that just this past week, we had our very first contract amendment that we put in the system in December actually go all the way through, get approved by the board, and we received a signed copy. And that took 4 months. So unfortunately, until the system kind of catches up and all of the projects are caught up, that a lot of our contracts are going to continue to be late.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's not only late, but after the contract expired. That's, I just see that as a double hit, that's all.
Okay, are there any other questions on this item from the board? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2021-219, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on a purchase order to U.S. Safety Gear Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $181,467 for the purchase of hospital and first responder personal protective equipment.
Good morning. This is Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety, and this order is for 3,300 PAPRS filters to be used by hospital personnel and first responders in the event of a mass casualty incident. We did a formal bid for this. We received 2 responses, but only one was technically compliant. We're making an award recommendation to that vendor. This purchase is being done with grant dollars, and Ohio EMA, who is the funder, has signed off on it.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2021-220, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on a purchase order to Scana MSC Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $64,106 for the purchase of 2 portable X-ray processors for City of Cleveland Police Bomb Team.
Mary Beth Vaughn again, and this equipment is used by bomb technicians to pulse X-rays through an object to a panel that is set behind the object. This purchase was also competitively bid. We received 1 response, and we're making an award recommendation to that vendor. This is also being purchased with grant dollars, and Ohio EMA has also approved this award.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item,
Thank
please.
you.
Next item, BC 2021-221, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Family and Children First Council, submitting an amendment to an agreement with Bedford City School District for implementation of the school-based, community-based Closing the Achievement Gap program for the period March 6, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $110,950.
Good morning, Kathleen Johnson from Family and Children First Council. This is a contract amendment for the CTAG program in the Bedford School District. This program helps students who are falling behind in their prospective grades to get to their correct grade. They provide a linkage coordinator, a program manager, community-based services within the county, and community and college exposure trips. It also helps to change their or improve their behavior and academic process. We had sent an email on Friday with the questions. So if you have any more questions, please let me know.
Hey, thank you, Kathleen. Are there any additional questions from the board on this item?
Yes, I was not able to review the responses, so could you give me a summary on the response?
Yes, so we submitted the contract end of December, beginning of January, but by that time the Bureau of Workers' Comp had expired. There was an incorrect date on the original amendment, which had to be changed. And there were legal changes made to the contract as well, requested by OPD. There were 85 students served in 2020. What's unique about Bedford is that they have made this a class that gives the youth a credit hour for participation in the program. Excuse me. In regards to the evaluation results, 2020 was the first year of Bedford's participation in the program. So it was a baseline year. If they are selected in a new RFP process, their participation will be monitored with grades, attendance, reduction of disciplinary actions, and program dosage. We have set up to collect data in our peer play system, and Case will be the evaluator for the program. Collecting the information in a data system will streamline the data collection process, provide cleaner information, and make the reporting process more efficient. To the next question, why does the amendment end in 2021 and not include the entire school year ending in 2022? Our office is releasing a new RFP for services that will begin in January 22. There was a meeting with the districts in September of 2020 to make them aware of the process change. If those districts are not included into the RFP selection, our office offered to work with a sustainability plan for the continuous support of their services if they choose to do so.
Okay. Any follow-up questions, Councilman Miller?
Yes, when you send out the RFP, how many school districts are we going to be able to award contracts to under the new RFP?
That I'm not sure. I would defer to my director, Robin Martin, for that question.
Hi, this is Robin Martin, Family and Children First Council. Right now, I think we're working with 7 school buildings, but there has been a request that we, in the new process, have 2 linkage coordinators per building. And in order to do that, we may have to reduce the number of schools. And so we may go from 7 to 5.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the board on this item?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Councilman Baker first, please.
All right, thanks. This, just so I'm clear, this is only for the Bedford City School District?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess I'm a little unclear that we are 4 months into 2021, and then we're ending this before the school year. Has there been services given in January, February, March, and April, even though there's been no exchange of dollars?
Yes, virtual services have been provided to the students.
So Bedford City School is waiting for their money?
Typically, the school districts bill us by the semester. And so they have, so yes and no. Yes, they're expected to be paid, but they have not billed us yet because this semester has not ended.
Okay, but the services have started?
Yes. Let me also add that there was an issue During this school year, the district did not have a treasurer, and typically when we are doing the contracting process, we work through the treasurer. So we had a period of time where we had to wait on the district to identify the individual that was going to work with us on the contract. And there was also a period of time when the superintendent was out on a medical leave and was unable to sign documents and provide us some of the information that we needed.
And I understand that. This is another example where the contract has ended and we're extending a contract that's already over. Was there any thought back in summer of last year that we know this contract's ending and we have to open up a new contract? Or, I mean, it's like, again, it's not that it's late, it's actually late and out of contract. What was your thought process back in last summer when you knew that this was going to be coming up for renewal?
Well, for the HHS contracts, and unfortunately, David was not able to join us on the call, but we had to prioritize in HHS. They prioritize all of our contracts, and the contracts that require placement of children took precedent over some of our other contracts. And so while we were in the queue, we had to wait on more pressing items on the HHS agenda to be passed before we were able to have our contract move ahead.
Okay. And on the back end of this, this does not cover January, February, March, April, May of 2022. No,
that will be an RFP process. Well, the next contract connected to the new RFP will cover that time period.
Will there be any gap in services during all this time?
We had a meeting with all of the districts that currently receive funding through the CTAG program in September of 2020 and explained that we were going to have an RFP process. And so what we asked them to do, and we were giving them a year's time, more than a year's time, to reach out to us to work with them to develop a sustainability plan, because in an RFP process, we cannot guarantee that the districts going forward in 2022 will be the same districts that are currently receiving the services.
Right. Okay, looks like there's a little work there that needs to be done, but the services that are provided, I'm sure, are good services. So thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mackler, you had a question, sir?
Robin, just one follow-up question from what you mentioned, that there was a request to go to, I believe, 2 linkage coordinators, I think is what you said. So we might only be able to do 5 schools.
Yes.
Where did that request come from? Is that coming from the school districts?
No.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, hearing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Mackler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2021-222, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Family and Children First Council, recommending an award on requisition 3432 and enter into an agreement with The Ohio State University on behalf of The Ohio State University Extension in the amount not to exceed $210,694 for planning coordinator and facilitator services for the Youth Academy Advocacy and Leadership Coalition of Cuyahoga County for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022.
Good morning, Kathleen Johnson from the Office of Family and Children First Council. This is our contract for Ohio State Extension for our Youth Advocacy and Leadership Coalition. This program is to have youth in our school districts and throughout Cuyahoga County be participating in a youth leadership program. It's similar to a 4-H program in most other counties in Ohio, but it is modified to meet the needs of our urban students. It was an RFP from last year. But this program has been in existence for at least 10 years or more with our office. And the contract was awarded to Ohio State Extension in the other previous years as well. Again, we did send the responses in regards to the questions, but if I need to review those again, I can.
Hey, are there questions from the board on this item?
Just one question. And I did read your response, and it sounds like the delay that we're 4 months in has been rectified, and you feel like you have a handle on getting this on time next time?
Yes, most of the delay was with the contract negotiations with Ohio State Extension. They were concerned with Article X and with also signing the independent contractor form.
Okay. And the services have been provided, but no payment has been made?
Correct.
Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Other questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Our next item, sorry. Next item.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to exemptions, item BC 2021-223, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an alternative procurement process, which will result in payments to various municipalities in the total amount not to exceed $150,000 for reimbursement of eligible expenses of personnel costs associated with Cuyahoga County's COVID-19 vaccination efforts for the period January 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2021.
Good morning. This is Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety again, and also on the line is Alex Pelham, the Director of Public Safety. And this request is the municipalities have been providing fire and law enforcement personnel to assist with the county's COVID vaccination efforts since January of 2021. The request is to actually reimburse these communities for their costs in the same model that we reimburse on grant salaries, and that is at the end of each month, they will submit a invoice for their eligible expenses, which would be wages, personnel, and Medicare. Then we would review them, create a purchase order, and submit it to the Board of Control for your review.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second. Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda items, BC 2021-224 through 226.
Board members take a moment to review the item. Are there any questions, or do we need more time?
One question, if I may.
Sure.
I'm not sure if I understand the explanation given about it not being late. This ended in 12/30/2020 to extend the time period to 11/1/2021. So how is that not late?
Councilwoman, this is Catherine Tkachuk, Office of Innovation and Performance. So the actual contract with CHN was in place until is still in place through November of 2021. That was what was approved. However, because this was CARES funding, the ability to spend funds ended 12/30/2020 because that was the current, at the time we did the contract, that was the current deadline for the CARES funding. So that this is extending the ability for them to spend funding into 2021, but their contract was always in existence with us, and they're not spending new dollars. What they're doing is re-qualifying people to make payments into 2021.
Good, thank you. I appreciate that explanation.
Other questions on any of today's consent agenda items from the board?
I
Hey, Eric,
have a
go ahead.
question,
Yeah.
if I may, on
Sure.
the BC 226, just for clarification on the vehicle that is being purchased for the maintenance garage. Is that a new vehicle or is that a replacement, or what's going on with that?
This is Tom Pavich, Public Works. Which number was this? Which?
298 under the 226.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, it's a replacement for a vehicle that was damaged that's used by the medical examiners through our fleet division, but it's out used by the medical examiner's office.
Okay, so this is a replacement vehicle.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions from the board on today's consent agenda items? Okay, hearing no more, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Item approved. Moving on to other business.
There's no other business.
Okay, very good. At this time, public comment. If anyone from the public wishes to comment, you may do so now. Okay, there is no public comment. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.